Welcome kindreds, it's Jessica and I'm just going to fill in my ritual planner for the full moon in Libra. I've been really looking forward to this full moon because the fiery kind of Aries energy has been great, but it's been a lot, and I'm feeling like this full moon in Libra being like the sign of like harmony and balance, is going to be a little bit of like a peaceful hiatus in a hot fiery month between two Aries moons, new moons. So, and we've got the eclipse coming up as well. The second Aries new moon is an eclipse. So I took my honeycomb planner out. I thought I'd just talk to you a little bit about the energy of this Libra full moon. If you're interested, I'm trying to link everything that I'm showing here. I know I'm going to go quick through this stuff, but I'll put everything in the description box of what I'm using and things like that. If you're interested in that, I won't talk about that now. So this is the chart for the full moon in Libra. At a full moon, the sun and the moon are always in opposite signs. So we've got the sun here in Aries, like right in the middle of Aries, and we've got the moon over here in Libra. And that energy, like Aries is the very first sign of the zodiac. It is very much like initiatory, let's get things moving, very fiery, fast, kind of powerful energy. I've started doing the tarot decan walk, where you look at a different tarot card that's associated with the different decans around the zodiac, and it's two of wands, 2, 3 and 4 of wands is this Aries moon time. So it's that fiery wand energy, but like early on in the wand energy. So it's like pushing things forward, getting things started, kind of figuring out, not even figuring out, like trying and leaving the figuring out till later, like not overthinking things and kind of going for it, which I find that like energy exciting, but also like a little bit challenging. So, so there's that for this month. And we've also got Jupiter right here, very close to the sun, and Jupiter in Aries. Jupiter's exalted in Aries. Jupiter is like the kind of, almost like the king, you know, kind of like think king of, well, probably king of cups more so, but Jupiter likes to be in Aries because it's a kind of, it's a sovereign sign. It's a sign that is very much about like identity and asserting the self, which is very kind of kingly in a way, you know. So Jupiter being there is lending that kind of sovereignty, that gravitas to this time. So like things that are being brought into, like being initiated with that Aries initiatory energy in this sign, have got that Jupiter kind of strength and backing almost. It's almost like the king is backing. If you think of Aries as being like the warrior, the kind of war god, then Jupiter is the king who is like lending support to that warrior, who is like, yes, I will pay for your campaign for this. I will send you the resources you need to carry out what it is you want to do. So we've got that kind of support there. And we've also got Venus here at home in Taurus. So we've also got a strong kind of like feminine energy coming through in this. Libra is also ruled by Taurus. So this is a moon that is ruled, not ruled by Taurus, ruled by Venus. Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus is at home in Taurus. So it's a very strong goddess type energy as well in this. So it's almost like Libra is about balance, and we've got that masculine, feminine. Like I hate that whole kind of binary that gets, I don't hate it actually. I hate that it's been perverted now, you know, like when people talk about masculine and feminine, there's so much like cultural conditioning which is associated with it, which is just unhelpful. Whereas when we're talking about like in terms of pure energy, which has nothing to do with like genitalia, it is the kind of those two energies are, Libra is about balance, you know, so it's bringing balance to those two different energies. And I feel like this full moon is going to be a good time to bring balance, and also to like reassess what has been kind of going on since the start of this year, which really felt mostly like the equinox. You know, the year didn't really get started till then. So we've got that boost of fiery energy, and now we've got this Libra full moon to give us a chance to like, okay, balance and assess kind of like what is actually going on here, what is like important, what is stuff that I'm kind of maybe not thinking enough about, where can I bring a little bit of grace, a little bit of Venus beauty and calmness, and like just smoothing the edges, of harmony, bringing more harmony to to the kind of fiery situation that we've had going on here. So I won't talk too much more about that. I'll go into it a little bit more in depth for the Moonwise members when I put the membership video up, which will hopefully be tomorrow. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit more in depth about what the other planets and things are doing in that video. So that is the energy that we're working with here. And when I did my last ritual moon journaling video, I said that I never really know what to do with these pages over here. And one of the commenters suggested that I use a goddess, like an oracle deck, because I've been saying I haven't been using my oracle decks. And I bought this gorgeous new one by Wendy Andrew, Goddess Love Deck. So I think I am going to use that to pull some cards over here. So I thought that was such a great idea, because I'm a bit like, what what am I supposed to do with these otherwise? It felt a bit like I was just kind of filling it in for the sake of it, you know, rather than filling it in because it was useful. And I don't want to do that. It's like, I'm not filling in this journal because I get points for filling it in, you know. It's like, it doesn't make any sense, does it? It needs to be something that is supporting me, and that's why I wanted this. So yeah, I need this to work for me. So I'm going to have a play with that anyway and see. I'm just going to get like just a kind of fine liner to fill this in. So I think I'm literally going to pull, I don't know whether I should pull how I feel. No, I think I will. I'm going to pull 5 cards. Is there 5 slots? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So let's see. And I may well want to add more stuff to like the release, especially when I get a little bit more information from over here. So I think it's fun to use oracle decks in like a slightly different way like this, when because quite often I tend to use them for like a 1-card draw, or like kind of like an extra card at the end of doing a tarot reading, something like that. But doing them as like almost like a reading in itself with an oracle deck is quite fun. So let's see what comes out. I've been using this deck quite a bit since I've had it. I've only had it a couple of weeks, and I've been using it quite a lot, and I am tempted. She has got another goddess deck as well, which I am thinking of potentially getting. They're both very reasonable, mass market, you know, available anywhere kind of decks. Okay, so I'm just literally going to cut the pack. So release. And I've got realignment. Feel the ebb and flow of life. So that's an interesting one for release. It's gonna be tricky for me to write. I'm like I've tried to put the camera like focused in so you can see what I'm doing, but I haven't got loads of space now for like moving my journal around, but it's all good. It's all good. That's a very like sea, like you're saying, ebb and flow of life, but and like we've got the sun and the moon here, so we have got that balance, which is really interesting actually, coming out at that full moon when we got the sun and the moon in opposite signs, that they are so prominent on this card. So perhaps it's something to do with releasing around that full moon as well. And I wonder if I'm supposed to be releasing, feeling the ebb and flow of life, like I very much do. Like I was saying, I enjoy that Libra energy. I enjoy the ebb and the flow. I like the balance, the kind of harmony, like not too much of one, not too much of another, going like that. And perhaps instead, I should be leaning more to one side or the other, you know, just for a while, because like I said, that fire energy has been really useful for like getting projects and things off the ground. It is interesting to me that I perhaps need more of a nudge in that way, and like perhaps lean more, like when I'm talking about those masculine and feminine, leaning more into like the masculine for a little while perhaps, rather than the feminine, being as it seems, obviously these are goddess cards, so there's much more like feminine. I wonder if this is, because some of the goddesses are named in this deck and some of them aren't, and I haven't pulled this card before, so I'll have a little look at that, what it says in the guidebook for that as well. I'm going to write feel the ebb and flow of life, even though my writing's going to be squiffy because I'm trying to lean around the corner. And I'm all about the ebb and flow, so that's really interesting that I'm supposed to perhaps be releasing that. Not that, perhaps it is, you know, that I definitely do lean into goddess energy so much more than I do into the god kind of masculine energy. So that's an interesting concept. So I'm going to pop that there for a second. Let's do no, I think I'm going to forgive. So actually I'm going to shuffle them again then, because I wasn't clear which order I'm going to take them out in. Forgive. Forgive joy. Embrace the blessing of life. That's a weird one as well, isn't it? It's 17, which is the star card in tarot. And I know like oracle decks don't always match up with, you know, with the numbers haven't always been thought out in the same way as tarot. But I find so often that there is definitely like extra value to be found in the numbers as well. Yeah, interesting. So, and sometimes I'll cancel down. So like 2 and 4 here, we've got 6, which is the Lovers energy, which is funny because that is like, the Lovers is like very much duality, that card. And it is also my sun sign card for Gemini. So yeah, lots of layers of things like that. So you can like add in there here. So why do I need to forgive? Embrace the blessing of life. I feel like I'm not quite sure how to take that at the moment. Yeah, I'm not sure. Look at all these hearts everywhere and like all these like white animals. It's really interesting kind of contrast with the colour of in here. I'm not sure how to forgive that or what that means at the moment. So I'll come back to that. That's always the fun thing when you use an oracle as well, isn't it? It's like do like the reading of them, like with tarot, is so intuitive for me. It's just, I know what this means. And I'm very rarely, like sometimes it happens, like you're like, okay. And it takes a couple of moments for something to come through. But with oracle, I get that much more. I have to kind of, like sometimes it's obvious, like you read the guidebook, you're like, oh yeah, okay. All the keywords are just it. But sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to do a little bit more work here with this. So I'm going to just pull celebrate how I feel and gratitude. So celebrate, reflection, healing, transformation. Well, that's easy to do there. How I feel, dedication, your challenges will reap rewards. And I do feel like I'm being nudged towards this idea of challenge, that I should be dedicating myself. I need to be working more. I need to be leaning more into that action side of things rather than the passive receiving side of things. And then gratitude for, and is Kuan Yin. So we've got compassion. You are loved unconditionally. And that is so on point because I've literally been working with the idea of unconditional love and how like goddess love for me is unconditional love. I struggle more with God love being unconditional love because of like, well, patriarchy and like cultural conditioning around that kind of thing. So yeah, really interesting, really interesting. I'm grateful for unconditional love. I'm working on loving myself unconditionally because that is so hard. I think for not just for me, I think for lots of us that is really, really hard to do. Like when I had my children and I realized, I don't think I even yet understood or had a concept of what unconditional love could be in a human relationship until I had my children. I was like, oh, this is what it is, you know. And that was a big bit. And I'm like, I don't feel that way about myself, you know. It's not it's something that I'm definitely struggling with and working on. So I'm grateful that I can receive, and I've been having so many messages of receiving unconditional love from Goddess, like in the draws and spreads and readings and things I've been doing, is like, you are loved unconditionally, you know. So yeah, that's really lovely. How I feel, I'm gonna write my challenges will reap rewards here. Because I'm doing new things, I'm trying new things, you know. I've launched the membership here, I am working on a website, I am working on some writing again. It's been a year now since I burned my journals. I burned 30 years worth of journals, and that was such a huge shift, and I feel like I'm still feeling the like ripple effects from that a year later. And it was this time last year, it was around the spring equinox last year that I did that ritual, and it was so powerful. So I celebrate healing, transformation. Oh my gosh, I celebrate that so much. And I really do feel like I am being healed now. And if I cancel this card down, is 6, 2 and 6 makes 8, which is the strength card, which is my birth card as well. So yeah, and it's very much about Leo and the heart as well. So I won't write all that now because I'm, like I said, I'm in a slightly awkward position, but I will I'll do that a little bit later. But let's look up some of the things that it says. So realignment, let's just have a quick, I won't read all of it out because that'll be boring, but let's just have a quick look. So it says, in the turmoil of life, it is easy to be carried away on a current that is taking you away from where you want to be. Interesting. Okay, so release. Okay, so I've got more insight into that now. Release being like pulled by other people's flow, I think, you know, rather than like asserting, doing that kind of fiery assertion of my will, of what I want to be doing. I've been pulled by the current from other people around me and society, you know, and like we're all pulled by living in this kind of patriarchal paradigm that we're in at the moment. Yeah, wow. Okay, so lots more to think about here. Let's look up this joy card because that was the one that was stumping me. And I'm supposed to be forgiving joy. Freya, this is Freya, Norse goddess of love, brings you her gift of joy. She asks that you open yourself to her and she will fill you to the brim. Her joy is boundless and her love is fathomless. So I wonder if I need to forgive myself for just not being able to open up to receive that. You know, when we talk about unconditional love, I feel like that joy is here. Look, she's spreading it and is so available. And yet I'm like, I'm not allowed that. Something is stopping me from accepting that, from receiving that. And I feel like what is stopping me is that inability to believe I'm worthy of that, you know? Yeah, that's deep stuff there. Deep stuff with that. Yeah, interesting. And just to show you a little bit of the book, you know, there's like a couple of pages and then there's like a daily practice for each of the cards that you can do as well. So I may well lean into some of that to try and shift things even further. I feel like I'm definitely making these shifts and things have changed so much, like I say, over the last year and even more so in the last couple of months. It feels like faster, more kind of fiery change. But yeah, I want to lean into that even more so. Okay, so I'm going to do this spread, the full moon in Libra spread, and it's, you know, the same questions each time. Where am I right now? What is influencing me? What have I created since the last new moon? So you're looking at kind of like kind of assessment of how things are, and then it's like looking at things that can be let go of and released. And I'm going to use, this is one of the decks that I pulled out to use this month, the Druidcraft Tarot, which is a new to me deck. This is one that my friend Elaine sent to me, and it's one that I fancied for a while. I do struggle with Celtic decks because so many of the like Celtic decks are appropriative, to be honest. You know, they are, and like they're Celtic and they merge all the different things. Like Welsh heritage is very different from, you know, like there's obviously similarities, but there are many differences too between the different Celtic heritage. And I think sometimes people just slap this Celtic label on it and then anything goes kind of thing. And quite often there's all sorts of weird things that aren't actually historically supported, but also like kind of culturally supported as well. So I do kind of struggle, but this one is not so, like it is, you know, imagery is very much tied into Celtic and kind of British. The creator Philip Carr-Gomm is they are associated with like British Druidry, and you know that definitely comes out in the imagery of this deck. And I think I'm, you know, like most of it that I've seen I'm okay with. I haven't even opened the guidebook yet, and this is really weird for me to do this because I normally spend quite a bit of time with a deck, but I feel like I've seen this deck has been out a good while now, and I've seen people using it a lot, and I feel like it's going to be one that is going to be easy. Yeah, 1988. You know, I've almost got this deck quite a few times, so I feel like I almost know it already, kind of. So I'm just going to dive in, and like sometimes I do that. Most of the time I do like the bonding process. Like I did a whole video on like how to bond with your deck, and I think that's especially important when it's like when you're a newer, oh gosh, these cards are a bit big. They've been trimmed, which is cool because they should be the size of this box, which is big, you know, like look, even the oracle cards are getting lost inside that box. It's big for a tarot. I definitely prefer a bit smaller. So it's been trimmed, which makes it more usable for me, which is really good. I have had this deck sitting on my altar for a little while, just kind of cleansing and acclimatizing to being here. So it's not like this is like the it's just arrived and I'm opening it and I'm going to do a reading with it. I do think it's important to have like a little bit of adjustment time. Like you might not think that, but I feel like that about when I get a new deck. But so yeah, this is like off the cuff. Let's just go for it. I don't think I can riffle it because it's just so big. I'm going to try and do like a waterfall. It's quite stiff as well, actually. Oh, it's okay for that. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, so you're probably like, how have you not got this deck already? Because I know this is one that lots of people have and enjoy. So, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, 5 of Swords. I've been getting lots of 5s coming out. And I pulled the 2 of Wands in the deck under the 2 of Wands, which I thought was interesting as one of my daily draw cards. So, yeah, let me know if you're doing the deck and walk. I'm going to definitely make some videos about that, but I haven't kind of found my rhythm with it yet. So I think I'll do that a little bit later on. I'm going to set up a whole journal to record the deck and walk, because I think it'll be more useful for me, like looking back, to keep it kind of separate, because it's going to be like all very much tarot based in this. So it'll almost be like a kind of tarot reference book when I'm done. Well, like a personal tarot reference book. Okay, so I'm just going to take all 6 cards from this deck. I have in the past split my reading of this and done 2 different decks, but I'm going to just do it all. I'm running out of space now. I'll put it there. Okay, so where am I right now? Ace of Cups. Oh, okay, so I am like, look, yeah. Although weirdly, that is a waning moon. Like the crescent, the light should be on the other side. So that's interesting to me, because my birth moon is the balsamic, the end of the, I suppose you're kind of entering into the dark, aren't you? So it's like, yes, it's the last bit of the light of the moon, but it's the beginning of the dark of the moon kind of thing. And like with it being cups, it's that watery, subconscious, unconscious. And I definitely feel like that now. Like I'm receiving so much more information from my unconscious. Like I've created space by doing this fire release, this clearing, and now I'm able to like receive so much more. And like I said, working on that unconditional love and having that as Ace of Cups is a really beautiful feeling. And I can see it looks like a salmon. So like salmon is a very important animal in Welsh mythology, and yes, in Celtic mythology. You know, we have like the salmon of life. And yeah, I wonder what it says. Let's have a quick look, because like I say, I haven't seen the guidebook, so we'll have a look what it says in the guidebook about that. Okay, so the majors are in the back. That's interesting. And the minors are at the front. It's got swords, wands. Oh, okay, I see. They are in, okay, so they're arranged in their so all the suits are together kind of thing. They're arranged so you can look at it like numerically and together like this. Yeah. So here's all the aces here. So I've got Ace of Cups, and I quite like that actually sometimes when he does that, because it's that reminder that the ace energy is, yes, it's elementally different, but it is still ace energy across all of these things. So we've got love, inspiration, fruitful dreaming, blessing, the beginning or deepening of a relationship, creative inspiration, time to open yourself to the many warm and nurturing relationships with which you are blessed, the gift of the Holy Grail, the blessing, inspiration, and love of the goddess. Okay, so interesting. So it doesn't actually mention the symbolism in the card. I like it when they do talk a little bit about why some of these things are in here, but it just means I have to work a little bit harder to understand this. I'm going to look as well, like there's hazelnuts forming here. There's, it looks like birch leaves here and ferns. So, you know, there's a lot of imagery here to work with and kind of get involved in. Yeah, interesting. Nettle, it looks like maybe there. Yeah, okay. So I'm actually loving that card for the very first one. And then what is influencing me? 9 of Pentacles. So I keep pulling this all the time. This was my stalker card like 10-15 years ago, more than, yeah, like 15 so years ago. I used to pull this card nearly every spread I did. And yes, 9 of Pentacles kind of is very me. I am focused on like sort of home security, that kind of like looking after my my people, my family. And I see this card as being like the kind of almost kind of in alignment with the Queen of Pentacles, but obviously not quite at the Queen level. Is that kind of like I'm figuring it out. And with like the bird as well, is the sort of far seeing and kind of preparedness, boundaries as well, you know. Yeah, so that's influencing me. Is like my balancing that whole kind of thing of my own creative awakening and also making it practical, making it grounded. You know, I feel like, yes, I want to be able to support my family. I want to be able to create and to share that with the world, but in a way that is going to be nourishing, and it's also not going to have a detrimental effect, like take my time and attention away too much, which might be like wanting it all. But you know, we are a Libra full moon here, so so I feel like bringing that idea of balance in is definitely called for. What have I created since the last new moon? Oh wow. And I've got the High Priestess. So I've created, I feel like I have created that kind of direct embodiment almost of the divine, like not all the time, but I have definitely, like I'm saying about opening those channels, and it feels like I have strengthened my bond with Goddess, and that I have created an opening. You know, when I said about like I wasn't allowing that to come through, I am really working so hard to open and to allow and to let that energy, that divine feminine energy, like speak to me. Look at the moons on these two cards, like mirroring each other. This is the crescent moon and this is the waning crescent. You know, it's, yeah, so much to unpack in there, so much. And you know, I'm going to be looking at the symbolism here. We got the red dragon there, yeah, and the cat in the background. And yeah, really liking these cards. What is no longer serving me? Four of Wands. That's funny. So this is one of the cards that is from this in the deck and walk. This is one of the Aries cards. It's the last of the portion of Aries, so we haven't quite got there yet, but it's that idea of like a celebration of what has been kind of done. But look at it's like the Four of Wands is very often the people led, you know, there's people around on this card, whereas like here it's almost like, yes, I did the burning, I burnt my journals, and like I let that go, and I like the people have all left, the party's over. So that kind of celebrating what I've done before, there's no need to kind of lean into that so much now. That there are definitely things like, look how the smoke is like blowing away to the side. It's like there's more to be done in a different place now, you know, not kind of still harping on, focusing in on that that space that was cleared. Like, yes, I cleared the space, I have burned, and now it is time to like allow that space to be filled with something else, not just focusing on like, yay, I created the space. Do you see what I mean with that? And like, perhaps, you know, we've got a roundhouse here in the background, perhaps that's where the community are right now, like sort of planning, doing the next thing, even challenging, you know, because like the Five of Wands comes after the Four, doesn't it? And so we've got the idea of like kind of challenge and figuring out like what happens now, how do we take things further? Yeah, interesting. How can I let go and release this energy? Prince of Swords. Okay, so with being really like ruthless with ideas that don't serve me anymore, really kind of like piercing through that and cutting away at things that are like, that's an unhelpful thought pattern, that's an unhelpful thought pattern, let's get rid of that. Yeah, interesting. And then what can I learn during this cycle? Oh, wow. Oh, no. 10 of Wands. So, you know, I can learn to be resilient, to be strong, to bear heavy weights. Like what did it say here? Look, how I feel. Your challenges will reap rewards. And that's what I need to kind of remember when I'm feeling this like 10 of Wands struggle kind of energy. Like I can learn that my challenges do reap rewards, and that even though when things are really hard and it feels like I'm kind of like overwhelmed with so many things, and like with it being Wands, it's like often so many projects, so many creative things. I'm trying to like do all these things at the same time. And I just got to kind of focus on that feeling that, yes, it's worth it. My challenges will reap rewards. Yeah, so that was an interesting reading. I think I'll pull a card from, let's pull one from the Goddess deck for you guys, because I think that will be nice. Let's take a card as like a kind of general message about this moon. Let's see. Oh, wow. Look, wildness and freedom, let go and let be. And that is very Aries, isn't it? Like that idea of wildness. And it also ties in so well with the goddess we've been working with in the Moonrise Goddess Circle as well. Let me read you what it says about that. What have I done with the book? It's right in front of me. So another kind of strength aligned card. We've got a 3 and a 5, although obviously we have got the 3 and the 5, which is different sort of energy from like a 2 and a 6, you know. Like 35. Let's see. Ooh. Okay. Ellen of the Ways, who I've got here. She's one of the goddesses that I work with. Ellen of the Ways, Lady of the Wildwood, invites you to loosen your tight, cautious grip on life. Although it is prudent to keep your eyes open and check for danger, there is a fine line between caution and fear. Yeah, so true. Check in with yourself and ask, am I walking my path with healthy carefulness or with anxiety? Yeah, and I think it's that anxiety for me which keeps me from opening. It's like fear is fear. I remember years ago when I had a almost like a kind of shamanic healing with it in a teepee with this woman, Brenda. She was amazing. And she said, what is the opposite of love? And I was like, hate, I guess. And she was like, no, the opposite of love is fear. I was like, oh, okay. And that has stuck with me. And that was like 30 years ago, and that has stuck with me. Ellen calls you to tap into the still, calm center within yourself and be brave, like a deer striding into a clearing, just so she can feel what it is like to have the sunlight on her coat and see the blue sky above. Yeah, so moving among the shadows is a safe way to watch for threats and stay safe, and there certainly is a time for that. But now Ellen is calling you to be wild and free. Step out into the open spaces, run and jump, skip and dance. Lady of the Wildwood knows that magic awaits you. She's beckoning you to step forward. She's encouraging your walk to become a stride and your stride to become a dance. Let the light illuminate you and let your light illuminate others. Dance your dance, sing your song, dazzle with your brightness and become the wild and free spirit you were born to be. Wow. That is so cool. And the goddess-inspired practice, it says, identify and write down in your journal a time when you stepped away from a situation that could potentially bring you joy. This is calling me out so hard here now. But that you felt was too difficult or uncomfortable. Having identified this time, now visualize yourself breathing in the spirit of Ellen and stepping into that challenging situation, feeling strong, sure-footed and brave. Let her wild and free goddess energy course through your body and feel yourself come alive. Take this practice into your day and call to Ellen when you need courage to deal with a challenging situation. Wow. Yeah, super, super powerful. So I won't write this up now because I feel like that would be a bit of an anticlimax after doing the reading and everything. Thank you so much for watching. Warmest, warmest blessings, and I will see you very soon.